Good morning, Florida lacrosse fans. Welcome to Morning Coffee, Tuesday morning, October 4th. We've all been through, I shouldn't say all. It certainly wasn't hard for me, but, a lot of people in our state went through an awful lot the last week. And welcome to Morning Coffee with Florida Lacrosse News. Lee Roggenberg, your host. Just a little housekeeping note first. We'll do the second morning coffee on Friday this week. Tonight at sundown starts Yom Kippur for me, as well as many other of the readers. And we'll be back on Friday because I won't be able to really put anything together tomorrow for the holiday. And so again, remember Friday morning, 8:30 will be the next morning coffee. And then next week, we should be back to our normal Tuesday, Thursday schedule after or in the normal time slots in the off season. Okay, first of all. Oh, God. Okay, let's also note, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Encourage others to do so. Follow us on Twitter at Florida LX, on Facebook at FLA, LEX, NEWS. If you enjoy the video, please make sure to hit that like button. And please get in touch with us for marketing and advertising purposes across the platform. We are in talks with a number of potential advertisers, and you'll be also dealing with Varsity Sports Network and potentially Brevard Sports Network, as well as other items. Okay. One little good piece of news is I spent a little bit of time yesterday on my iPhone with Twitter. I figured out again how to do live video through Twitter. Those were very popular when we did them before they got rid of their setup with Periscope. A number of the interviews we did on the field after games went over 1,000 views of the video, and it'll be a nice addition and make it a lot easier for me to go directly to YouTube, and then I can post from YouTube directly, on Twitter, and then post directly from Twitter to the website and then onto YouTube. So you'll be able to get an awful lot of outlets for the video content. I can tell you it was a pain in the neck for me to do the YouTube directly when it came to video on the field. For whatever reason, I just didn't master it very well. And there was a multiple step process, but now this should be a lot easier for me. And I expect to see the Twitter viewership continue to rise. We've had some, wonderful numbers there, very happy with it. And now we'll be able to continue. And, those of you who have watched those in the past know that this is a particular strength for us at FLN in order to bring you, coaches' opinions after games and in other situations too. So look forward to that as we get closer to the season. Okay, a couple of Jacksonville University items. Holding their annual golf outing on October 23rd. If you're interested, get in touch. It's on their website. But they also released their men's schedule for 2023. And if you're in the area, and if you're not too far a drive away, Johns Hopkins and Duke are both making trips to Jacksonville to play them in February. So go check out that schedule. Go take a look at it. Coach Galloway made those road trips last year, and now the teams are coming back, and it's going to be great. I can't remember the last time Johns Hopkins played a game in Florida, if ever. Maybe it's never happened. Maybe this is the first time. John, if you're listening out there, maybe you could have someone quickly check on that, or if someone who's a Hopkins grad is out there, see if Hopkins has ever played in the state of Florida before. And if not, that's a wonderful thing for people to go out and take a look at. The Swim4Nick charity event, the swim, unfortunately had to be postponed with the hurricane possibilities. It's going to be rescheduled. We'll bring you that as soon as we know when. Flagler assistant coach James Foote, his brother Tom, who we've reported before, had a stroke. There is now a GoFundMe set up, I believe, under James's name. We'll link to it at some point today or tomorrow. Obviously, an awful lot of people with an awful lot of expenses from the hurricane, but if you can contribute a couple of bucks, I'm sure James and his brother would greatly appreciate it. USF posted their men's roster for their club team. Tampa Lax Report has it. I retweeted it from them. Coral Springs High, we've probably mentioned this before, needs a head coach for boys lacrosse. If you're interested, please get in touch with the school. Okay, I kind of saved the two things I wanted to talk to the most for last. We already have 6 recruit submissions in the queue. Now that we're going to start back up again, we'll be able to start to post them, one a day. Probably start with 1 a day because I've got enough other stories to post around them, and I don't want any of the kids to sort of get a little neglected with their feature story. They've spent the time to do it. By the way, Caden, I'm waiting for yours. Come on, we've certainly covered you enough too. You take the couple of minutes and then fill one in, Caden. We definitely want to hear the ones we have in the queue. St. John Paul boys 2023, Kyle Davis had committed to Belmont Abbey. St. Stephen's girls 2024, Sienna Casella has committed to Rutgers. That's been submitted. Jupiter boys 2023, Parker John, that's relatively new, is committed to Lindenwood. He submitted his. Avery Foster has submitted hers. Natalie Chariak, Creekside, has submitted hers. And Lindsay Angermeyer of Edgewood, she played last year at Holy Trinity, but had played at Edgewood the 2 previous years and has gone back to Edgewood for her senior year. And Lindsay has submitted hers too. All 6 of you, thank you. Next 3, 4, 5 days or so, expect to see your articles up. And as I said, anyone out there who's committed and hasn't done this, 2023s and 2024s, I'll repeat it until I'm blue in the face. Kids out there read these, parents read these, the colleges read these. It's just a great way to pass on your experiences and your knowledge to the next generation. Now, those of you who, I'm sorry, there's one other thing before I get to the hurricane. This was actually very interesting. I get an email from a local business in Boca, Athletic Republic. I believe they're high-end athletic training. And the email was about whether kids, and probably adults too, are overtraining today. And, I skimmed enough of it to understand what they were getting at. And to be honest, I think they have a point. I think that at times we have as a tendency, particularly when we're younger, or the younger athletes of today tend to potentially overtrain some on the weight side. We've seen a lot of stress injuries. We've seen certainly a lot of ACL, MCL injuries. I know of one high-end player whose hip degenerated substantially. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea if you're a heavy trainer to maybe sort of sit down and think through a little bit, and maybe, particularly in the off season, maybe give your body a little bit more rest. Obviously this is a generic comment. It's not specific to individuals. But I was discussing this with my son too, as we were sort of watching the NFL games. And it's just astonishing how many big name NFL players are going down with injuries. Now, part of this is that 320 pounds and a 4.8 40 is quite the force multiplier on contact. And obviously, so many of the players are so much bigger, faster, and stronger. But you kind of wonder if in that strength training, maybe flexibility has gotten a little bit less of the emphasis than maybe it should. And I think it would be a good idea if people sort of at least paid attention. I'm gonna post the letter. If they're not happy with that, I'll take down a chunk of it and maybe just do an excerpt. But it was an email that was sent out that I received, and I think it's worth the read for the athletes out there just to get their side of this case. Okay. Hurricane Ian. Obviously, God bless those who lost their life, and as well as their lives, their livelihoods. I'm sure there's plenty of businesses that were destroyed. We all saw the video, the overhead video of Fort Myers Beach, an area that I've been to multiple times. My brother is in Naples. Thank God he was far enough inland that he did not sustain any real damage. Sanibel, all the barrier islands have just been obviously overturned. Major upheaval. It's going to be a long way back. I do know of one assistant coach over there who lost their place. Thankfully, I've not heard of anyone in the lacrosse community who's lost their life, and we hopefully don't hear that. But please, if you have any information that you think the entire lacrosse community should be hearing about, any GoFundMes that are over on the West Coast that we can help publicize, please get in touch with us. Lee at FloridaLacrosseNews.com works fine. And we wish everyone the best. And obviously, besides there was a lot of damage as the hurricane kind of almost mimicked the I-4 corridor and then kind of veered off a little bit more towards Brevard, Volusia, etc. A lot of people in the Orlando area had flooding issues, but thankfully it doesn't seem like a lot of catastrophic damage in that particular area. I want to also give a shout out to Florida Power and Light and all of the other utilities that sent people down. I read this morning, I think we're already under 400,000 with people out of power. And when you consider that this was only, 4 days now since over 2 million people were without power, that's just extraordinary that we've been able to get that many people up to power that quickly. And sure, we can easily say that we're a state that has certainly had the burden of these storms in the past and have learned very much about them. But I also want to say to those people who are trying to make an issue about why didn't Fort Myers and Lee County evacuate quicker, go to hell, okay? Go to effing hell. My brother in Naples, 36 hours before this hit, was texting me, you know what, I feel pretty confident. It looks like we're only going to get tropical storm winds. Anyone who thinks that this state and its leadership didn't do as much as it could to protect these people beforehand, get a lesson. Do us a favor. Get off of social media. Do something better with your time. I can think about 8 million other things that you can do so. But we don't need you. We don't need your hell. Okay? Get lost. All right. Okay, let's always remember, grow the game, respect the game, honor the game. This is Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News. We'll see you on Friday this week instead of Thursday. Yom Kippur starts tonight. And so long from the Sunshine State.